Hi everyone, welcome to the Lunch Hour Show on Talk Time with Tiana. My name is Tiana World Passy, and as always, I'm excited to have you all join me on today's episode. If you're just seeing this video, please, you know the routine, like, share, and also subscribe. Don't forget to turn on your notification. If you are a returning subscriber, thank you for staying with me, and let's get on this ride together. Last week, we talked about dealing with rejection, and we had amazing contributions from our friends Noella, Israel Okot, Inola Makinde, and Muyiwa Kolade for gave us amazing contributions to how you can deal with rejection, how you can combat rejection. Last week we also saw the clinical aspect of rejection. We got to realize that rejection is a disorder. And when you have a heightened sensitivity or heightened emotional sensitivity, you might just be dealing with rejection. We also saw some of those symptoms of spotting someone with rejection. How do you spot a person dealing with rejection? And one of the things that I learned from last week's episode is that people with RSD, that's rejection sensitivity dysphoria, often are scared of taking tasks. They don't want to take tasks, especially if the task has a tendency of failure. They are people pleasers. They don't want to be rejected. They just want to be accepted. Oh, please love me, and the ASCII says, if I'm going to use that word, they're people pleasers. And you know, we live in a society where it teaches you how to please people, how to be a people pleaser. You know, so people who go through rejection often find themselves act this way, or when you see someone acting this way, you just know that this person might be going through RSD. We also saw the what the Bible had to say about rejection. Thank you to Noella. She cited a scripture there when in her contribution. Please, if you haven't watched last week's episode, you go back and watch it. You will have a background discussion, a background knowledge to what we're talking about. This week we're also dealing with rejection, but in relationships. I got to realize that there is something called social rejection that has to do with relationship. You know that social rejection, people with social rejection often suffer from depression, anger, withdrawal, agony. They're always angry. Now the question is, how do you manage a partner who's suffering from RSD? How do you manage a partner who has a high sensitivity to anything that happens? How do you manage a partner who doesn't believe in him or herself? How do you manage a partner who gets touchy? Whatever you say affects him or her. How do you manage that partner? What do you do in situations like that? These and many more are what we're going to be talking about on today's episode. Don't go nowhere. We will be right back. Welcome back. If you're just joining us, this is the Lunch Hour Show on Talk Time with Tiana, and today we're looking at dealing with rejection in a relationship. Before I went on the break, we saw that social rejection increases sadness, anger, depression, anxiety, jealousy, pain, you name it. And in the other hand, the ripple effect of this is that it reduces the person's intellectual capacity to carry out a task. The time and the energy you would spend in achieving something great, you're spending it in foiling anxiety, depression, and anger. Why? Because you have a high emotional sensitivity, or you have a high tendency to react emotionally to anything or to any event that you feel is directed towards you. Now that brings us to the big question. How do you manage, or how do you deal with RSD in your relationship? How do you manage a partner suffering from rejection? What do you do? One of the major ways to do this is tell them how important their feelings are. Reassurance. Tell them their feelings are as important and as valid as any other feeling or any other thing in this world. Doing this can go a long way to build connection and connectivity between you both. Understand how the person's understand how the person's brain works. If you're able to understand your partner and how he or she reacts to certain issues, it will go a long way to fight rejection. It will go a long way to help you build connection and help wade away negative energy and symptoms. Talk to your partner. Let your partner know. Let that person or that partner know that he or she, her feelings are actually valid. And you, on the other hand, suffering from rejection, be open. Tell it as it is. Tell it as it is. Let your partner understand how you feel, the exact emotion, what must have triggered what is happening to you right now. Because when you put all of these complexities together, you're able to trace the root cause. I pick up what Tinola said in the last episode. Please, if you haven't watched it, like I said the last time, go and watch it so you can understand where we're coming from. I pick up what she said the last time. She said you have to understand the root cause. I'm paraphrasing. You have to understand the root cause of a matter. If you don't understand the root cause of a matter, you cannot actually address the matter as you should address it. So understanding how your partner reacts to particular issues will be able to help you wade off negative energies and some of the symptoms. The next one is proper communication. Proper communication, and if you ask me, I would say this is interwoven, and this is a bit similar to the first point, because when you communicate properly, I mean, I'm not in your mind, I'm not a spirit, I'm not a ghost, I don't know how you feel. I need you to tell me how you feel. And if you're not able to communicate properly for me to understand how I make you feel or how you're feeling at the moment, I will not be able to help you. So proper communication can help you build good relationship with that partner of yours, that partner that is wanting to understand you and accept you the way you are. Because it's not easy accepting someone or being with someone who has RSD. That person is always on the edge, you know. So when you have a partner who is ready to understand you and understand how you feel, the least you can do for that partner is be clear enough in your communication. Be clear enough that, oh, you did this, I didn't like it. Oh, you did this, I didn't like it. Oh, can you not do this again next time? Can you try to do this better the other time? Proper communication can help build a positive relationship. Oh well, like you know, the Lunch Hour show is all about hearing what our friends had to say about what we're talking about. So right now, let's go forward to hearing what our friends have to say about this topic.
My name is MC Fresh, and I'm a comedian. This is my contribution to the Lunch Hour show with Gianna. So how do I handle rejection? It's quite crazy. Rejection is a sad thing. You don't want to be rejected by anyone, mostly when it has to do with the person you love. But the best thing is I just come to terms with the fact that this person is no longer there. And this person has made it clear that this is what they want. And I respect that. By the time you learn to respect people's choices, it makes it easier for you to be able to handle some of these things when they come. So if it comes as a shock to you, you'll be able to absorb it and move on with your life. So for me, I just stick to it. Know that, okay, this is your standpoint, and it's clear for me to accept it, that this is your standpoint, and go by it. That's how I handle rejection.
Everyone, it's your girl Queen Ajoge, and I'm here to share my thoughts on the topic dealing with rejection in relationship. Dealing with someone who has suffered rejection in the last relationship can be very challenging, and it's important for you to be able to approach them with sensitivity. You have to be very sensitive around such people, and there are various tips you can use to deal with them, which number one is to listen. You have to be ready to listen. That is very important, because People like that want someone to listen to them. And you have to validate their feelings to make them understand that what they feel is real, the pain is real, and they have the right to feel it. That to give them a level of self-confidence. And another thing is encourage them to self-care, as in care for themselves. Offer support any way you can and avoid blame. Trust me, such people can be very annoying. They will do so many things with their mood swing and entitlement, but you have to just try to be patient with them and not feel like they are sort of burden and all. Learn to be supportive. Anyway, it's a little tips I know. It's your girl again, Queen Ajoge. Thank you.
My name is Apostle Charles. I want to throw a little more light into this topic. If you are in a relationship with someone that is experiencing rejection, the best counsel or advice I normally give is this. Number one, win the person's trust. Because when you win the person's trust, the person can open his or her heart to you, air his or her pain to you. Then in the process, you can discover where the person is missing it. It may be a character, it might be an attitude, it can be spiritual, but in the process you can discover the problem. If it is spiritual, you can refer the person to a pastor. If it is just physical that has to do with an attitude, you can refer the person to a certified therapist. And trust me, in doing this, you have already helped the person. And number two, which is very, very, very important, never make the mistake to remind the person of his or her past errors. By doing that, you have returned that person back to square one. Practice this and you'll get a good result. Thank you.
Would like to say a very big thank you to all our friends and for your contributions. Amazing contributions there. Trust me, if you haven't picked anything from what those people or what our friends have said today, then I don't know. I really do not know, but thank you so much for your contributions. Everyone that has said something on today's episode, thank you. Your contributions are valid and they are amazing. Now, one thing I would like to reassure or reiterate is that clear communication funnels reassurance. If your communication is clear enough, you'll be able to help the next person help you. You'll be able to help the next person understand you. So clear communication works perfectly in cases and issues like this. The next thing I would like to look at is process your emotions, process your feelings. Living with someone or being a partner to somebody suffering from RSD can be very difficult. Like I said before we went on a break, it can be very difficult. So it will be your own job to process your emotions and help process the emotions of your partner. So when he or she is letting out how they feel or how you made them feel or how something made them feel, it's not the time for you to jump into it and pick faults and try to make issues out of the fault. It's the time for you to process those emotions and see how you can help that person. Because you have said you want to love this person, you love this person, you want to be with this person. The least you can do is help the person get through what he or she is dealing with. I'd like to quickly look at one of the major ways we can fix RSD rejection, and that is psychotherapy, mental health therapy, or mental therapy as you want to call it. Psychotherapy doesn't necessarily stop rejection from happening, or it doesn't necessarily reduce the symptoms. What it does is it helps the patient process his or her emotions. It helps the patient understand what the triggers are. It's just like having asthma patients, and then that patient understands that, okay, if I start sneezing, I may get an attack, or if I get if I get too cold, expose myself too much to cold, I may get an attack. If I'm too stressed, so it's just you understanding what your triggers are. That's what psychotherapy helps you does. And if you have a partner with RSD, I'd advise that you attend his or her sessions with her, because it's also going to help you understand how to live with this person. So you see, what psychotherapy does is it helps you. It just helps you understand who you are, what's wrong with you at the time, how to deal with what is wrong with you, and how to process what is wrong with you. What do you do when it comes? What do you do when those emotions are piled up and you want to pour it out? That's what psychotherapy helps you does. And just to go over what we've said today and how to deal with rejection in relationships, how to be clear and open-minded with your partner, how to reassure your partner that their feelings are okay, they're important to you, and they are valid. I also like you again to go back and watch last week's episode, because a lot was said. I'm sure you're going to pick more. You're going to pick a few things from there, and also with what we've said today. This is the much we can take on to this episode of the Lunch Hour Show on Talk Time with Tiana. If you have more contributions to make, please do well to drop it in the comment section. And don't forget to also subscribe, like, share, and turn on your notification. Also, follow me on the social media handles that are displayed right now on your screen. If you want, or if you have something you would like us to know or to share with us, please don't also forget to drop it as DMs on Instagram or in the comment section. Thank you so much for staying with me on today's episode. I'm excited that you have learned something from the rejection series, and it's something that you are going to be implementing rather than wallowing in your rejection. Rather than stressing your partner out, because it can be very stressful. So rather than stressing your partner out, why don't you just be open and be plain, accept therapy, accept help, accept counseling, talk to that partner, let that partner know how you feel, help that partner help you. Don't stress the partner. Thank you so much. Until I come your way again next week, Wednesday, same time, Wednesday 2 p.m. Have a beautiful day. And you don't have to feel rejected. Rejection is normal. Bye.